Welcome to day 37 of our journey from baptism to the cross with Jesus. We are now in the final stretch of this story. Jesus has been arrested, the trial is happening, and the events are moving quickly toward the cross. Today's reading comes from Matthew 27, verse 11 through 26. Meanwhile, Jesus stood before the governor, and the governor asked him, "Are you the king of the Jews?" "You have said so," Jesus replied. When he was accused by the chief priests and the elders, he gave no answer. Then Pilate asked him, "Don't you hear the testimony they are bringing against you?" But Jesus made no reply, not even to a single charge, to the great amazement of the governor. Now it was the governor's custom at the festival to release a prisoner chosen by the crowd. At that time, they had a well-known prisoner, whose name was Jesus Barabbas. So when the crowd gathered, Pilate asked them, "Which do you want me to release to you, Jesus Barabbas or Jesus who is called the Messiah?" For he knew it was out of self-interest that they had handed Jesus over to him. When Pilate was sitting on the judge's seat, his wife sent him this message, "Don't have anything to do with that innocent man, for I have suffered a great deal today in a dream because of him." But the chief priests and the elders persuaded the crowd to ask for Barabbas and to have Jesus executed. "Which of the two do you want me to release to you?" asked the governor. "Barabbas," they answered. "What shall I do, then, with Jesus who is called the Messiah?" Pilate asked. They all answered, "Crucify him." "Why, what crime has he committed?" asked Pilate. But they shouted all the louder, "Crucify him." When Pilate saw that he was getting nowhere, but that instead an uproar was starting, he took water and washed his hands in front of the crowd. "I am innocent of this man's blood," he said. "It is your responsibility." All of the people answered, "His blood is on us and our children." Then he released Barabbas to them, but he had Jesus flogged and handed him over to be crucified. Jesus is standing before Pilate. Pilate can't find a real reason to punish him. He even gives the crowd a choice, Jesus or Barabbas. And the crowd chooses Barabbas. They shout for Jesus to be crucified. This is hard to sit with because it shows how easily people can be swept up in the moment, how quickly a loud crowd can drown out what is true. Pilate knows Jesus is innocent. He sees it. He understands it. But instead of standing firm, he gives in to the pressure. He washes his hands and lets the crowd decide. And this is where the lesson goes a little deeper for us. Because most of us don't see ourselves as part of the crowd, but we do know what it feels like to stay quiet when we should speak, to go along with something because it is easier than pushing back, to avoid standing out because we don't want the attention or the conflict. Sometimes following Jesus isn't about big, dramatic moments. It's about quiet decisions we make every day, whether we choose what is right or what is easy. This story reminds us that the loudest voices aren't always the truest ones, and doing the right thing doesn't always feel popular. Jesus stands there, calm and silent, knowing exactly what is happening. He doesn't argue. He doesn't fight back. He simply remains faithful to who he is. That kind of quiet strength is something we don't talk about enough. Today's question: where in your life might you feel the pull to go along with the crowd instead of standing for what you know is right?